New Brunswick's child advocate says the province's change to the school policy on sexual orientation and gender identity violates the charter rights of children. Kelly Lamrock released his review in a new report saying the Education Department did not seriously consider the legal consequences of its policy before making the change back in June. Kelly Lamrock is joining us once again this morning from Fredericton. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Premier Blaine Higg's government has faced a lot of criticism for the changes it made to the policy. At a Pride event in June, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said, quote, trans kids need to feel safe, not targeted by politicians. You have interviewed parents and children. What did they tell you about their concerns for safety after the changes were made?
We interviewed dozens of parents, children, and experts. And, you know, I think it comes down to this. People say the state doesn't own our children. As a parent, that's absolutely true. We also don't own our children. And one of the most important things to remember is that as children age and have an evolving capacity at law, they also have the right to determine what they want to be called day to day. And all of the experts, psychologists, social workers, doctors said to us, look, you cannot have a discussion about how to connect a young person to their parents if you start by disrespecting them and saying, I'm going to call you a name you don't want to be called. In fact, one veteran psychologist said that psychologist would have their competence questioned. So what we have recommended is that, yes, as children get older, as they hit middle school, they should be presumed to have the capacity to determine what they want to be called, even as we work. To be kind, to give them the services they need, and, yes, to encourage conversations with parents.
Your report acknowledges that what you just mentioned, a parent's right to guide their children, but it says it's wrong to force their views on children through state apparatus. You also mentioned that this challenges the charter rights of children. What are the charter rights of children?
Well, for one, child has a right to privacy. Without any state act, if a child says, look, I'm doing this and I'm not ready to talk to my parents yet because that's a very big, high-stakes conversation and I want to talk to other trusted adults. You can't build a big state apparatus and say, no, we're going to cut off every access to trusted adults. And in fact, again, the experts all said, well, look, if you refer them to us, the first thing we're going to do is call them the name they want to be called and then talk to them about talking to their parents. So in the end, it came down to that principle you mentioned, which is a parent has an absolute right, and I guard that as jealously as anyone. We have the right to teach our children our values in the home. What we don't have the right to do is create a big government apparatus to force them to share our values when they're older teenagers.
Is this an issue that could become a charter challenge?
I'm told it could be. And obviously, look, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a judge. And no lawyer would ever predict with 100% certainty what a judge might do. But certainly there are groups looking at it. My hope, we've proposed an alternate policy that encourages parental contact, has a process appropriate for younger children where necessary, but affirms the privacy and autonomy rights of older children. My preference is, given all the uncertainty right now and teachers not knowing if they're breaking the law by doing what they're told by the government right now, my hope is government will skip all that protracted legal process and simply adopt a balanced policy that leads with kindness and recognizes the capacity of children at law. And I hope that we've given them that option.
Despite the ripple effects to this government, they've taken a hard and a firm line, but they have said that leaders would read your report before they make any further decisions. What could happen if these changes stay in place for the school year ahead, particularly for the people it affects the most, the children and the teachers?
Chaos. You know, for example, right now we found the changes that say, well, you've got to call a child by their birth name even if they don't want to be called that. The privacy law on the books passed by the legislature that this government has left there says the name and gender in the child's official record is actual personal information, and any teacher who releases it without the child's consent is probably breaking the law and could face financial penalties like happened in Alberta in a similar case in 2016. You've got professionals who say, my code of ethics, well, the psychologist quote I just shared with you, where they said, look, I, of course, would start by telling a child they should talk to their parents, but I wouldn't start by refusing to call them the name they want to be called because that would be professional misconduct. Well, they're wondering, do I follow my professional ethics? So you've got a lot of teachers wondering, well, what do we do? We've got school districts saying we're not implementing this policy. So what I've said to government is, look, right now you got chaos because you didn't do a basic check of the other laws that people have to follow. Let's have a balanced approach, recognize the role of parents, but also allow children to have conversations and interactions with other grown-ups they trust is a route to getting to talk to their parents.
New Brunswick's child and youth advocate, Kelly Lamrock, thanks for coming back.
Thanks again for your interest. Take care.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.